Hi and welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Wally Graham and today I'm speaking with Scott Williamson, who's Managing Director of Blackstone Minerals. Now Scott, Blackstone Minerals, you've been very busy up in Vietnam at your Ta Khoa nickel-copper-PGE project up there. There's quite a bit going on there, and for people who probably aren't really well versed in what's going on, it's quite confusing. So the Ta Khoa project, you've just completed a scoping study there, is that correct?
That's right, yeah. So the scoping study is on that Ban Phuc ore body. And we've got some great numbers there. Yeah, it's a good start.
So before we get, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but before we get there, so there's the Ban Phuc ore body. Now at the Ban Phuc ore body, that's where you've also made the King Cobra discovery. So that's you've got an indicated mineral resource of over 44 million tonnes there. So, and now you're drilling at the Ban Khoa nickel-copper-PGE prospect, which is 1.5 kilometres north of Ban Phuc. And you're also just about to start drilling at a King Snake prospect as well. So we'll touch on that as well. So let's get back to the scoping study first. That was on the project as a whole, basically. Can you just sort of give us a quick snapshot of what came out of that?
Yeah, so that first ore body, Ban Phuc, we're looking at a large open pit mining scenario. We'll mine for around 8.5 years, and it's a very economic scenario, looking at an NPV at consensus nickel prices of about 2 times the capex. So this capex includes the ability to produce a downstream product. So we're actually looking at the precursor, which is the first part of the lithium-ion battery. So it's a nickel cobalt manganese precursor, which is this NCM 811. So we're looking at developing the downstream processing with that study, and so there's some good economics there, because we can take a concentrate which trades at a discount to nickel metal, and we can convert it into these downstream chemical products for the lithium-ion battery. And the reason we can do that is because we're partnered with EcoPro, which is the second largest cathode manufacturer in the world. So yeah, well positioned with our partner EcoPro.
All right, and when you released the study, do you think it's really got the appreciation of the industry, or the industry watchers, so to speak? Because it sort of it came up and the numbers were good. It's obviously a robust sort of project, but do people appreciate what the project is and where it is?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It definitely feels like it might have fallen on deaf ears for the retail investor, but what we can say that it's really opened up a lot of opportunities from larger industry players. Yeah, so it's definitely got the interest of the industry, and behind the scenes some really interesting opportunities opening up for us. And and that's fine, because the reason we put this into the market is not for the hype around drill hole to drill hole type investors. We wanted to attract major players in the industry, and that's what this scoping study's done. So from an institutional perspective and from a strategic perspective, we've never had more interest, and so that's why people should probably go back and have a good look at that study, because that's where the future of the industry is. And we're going to achieve something that not many players can achieve, and that's that ability to move into the downstream, and that's what's really gaining the interest of major players in the industry. So yeah, it's definitely fallen on deaf ears a little bit from a ASX perspective, but couldn't be further from what's happening in the background.
And that's obviously why you're looking at expanding the project. You're out there drilling at Ban Khoa at the moment, and as we intimated, you're about to start drilling at King Snake. The Ban Khoa drilling, how's that progressing?
Yeah, we're just still on the second or third hole at Ban Khoa, so we'll try and aggressively drill that out as quickly as possible. So what we're looking at now is all of these other ore bodies outside of Ban Phuc, is the ability to potentially use the existing concentrator, which you can see behind me. So the ability to remove or reduce a significant amount of that upfront capital requirement, so by using the existing concentrator. So in that study, we looked at a 4 and a 6 million tonne per annum new build, so another standalone concentrator. We'll now look at, okay, which of these smaller ore bodies can we use to actually turn on the concentrator, and we can halve the capex, so we can remove a significant amount of that capex, that $300 million sort of mark. We can actually just focus on building the downstream and then push these smaller ore bodies through this existing concentrator, and that removes that upfront capital significantly. So that's what the focus of the exploration is now, is okay, which of these ore bodies, whether it's a Ta Khoa or Ban Chang or Ta Khoa, there's plenty going on, which of them will suit the existing concentrator and allow us to reduce that upfront capital requirement.
And that was sort of like pretty much an impetus behind getting the project in the first place, wasn't it? Because the infrastructure was already there, and it was built to fairly high standards. And so, I mean, you've moved into the project, the process is already there, and as you said, you just got to really prove up the deposits around it.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of people that are coming to the story just now probably haven't realised why we went down this strategy. So these smaller ore bodies, they're never going to give you an 8, 10 or even 20-year mine life. They're much smaller, and they're well suited to that existing concentrator. But you need to drill out a big ore body to attract a major player and to attract the funding to develop that downstream processing facility. So we've done that, and we are definitely attracting major players, and we're going to attract the funding required to build a downstream. And now we can look at the smaller ore bodies, which are much smaller and less mine life, but they bring the cream on the cake, basically. So they bring in the higher grade, they allow us to use the existing concentrator, and so we'll just peg it back. So although we called it a base case scenario in the scoping study, it's actually a worst case scenario, and we won't be aiming for the worst case. We'll obviously be aiming for the best case for the Blackstone shareholders, and the best way to do that is minimise dilution. And so that's our focus now, is to how do we use that existing concentrator to minimise dilution but still hit the same NPV number, and potentially much better than we had in that study.
And the other announcement just today is the King Snake deposit, your prospect. You're out there having a look at that?
Yeah, so there's obviously a bit of a theme with the snakes, but King Snake's one that's been known about for a while. The previous owners did a little bit of drilling there, Falcon Bridge, back in the early 2000s. But back in the early 2000s, they didn't have the same sort of EM technology. So we're seeing much deeper. We're seeing a lot more than the previous owners, and we've got probably our best EM plate to date, just lit up right down dip or down plunge of the known ore body, basically, at King Snake. So it's probably our best target so far. We're pretty excited. It will hit high grade nickel sulfide. So it's it's a great to be back into King Snake, which is one of those ore bodies that we knew about. We just haven't got round to it, and it's lit up. So ready to drill it.
Earlier explorers are always a pretty good indicator of something being there, and as you said, with modern technology, you're able to really take advantage of the work that's already been done.
Yeah, it's a great situation. The previous owners sunk $136 million into the infrastructure, and they did a tiny little bit of exploration. They just didn't have the tools that we've got today, and because we've bought our own drill rigs, we can unlock this geology very cost effectively and hopefully as quick as we can.
All right, Scott, we'll leave it there, mate. That's pretty comprehensive for what you've been up to at the moment. I would assume that we'll probably be hearing, maybe leading up to Christmas, maybe in the new year, of some results coming through from both those prospects, the Ta Khoa and the King Snake.
Yeah, thanks, Wally. Yeah, we're obviously focused on bringing those assays through, but there's a bit of a lag at the moment. But we won't be announcing every drill hole, but we obviously want to keep the punters excited. So we'll do our best. But it is a lot going on, but there's a significant backlog of assays. So try and get them out as quick as we can.
All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing all that. All right, Scott, thanks very much, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Wally.